I want to ask you. You are a young, energetic, creative head coach in the NBA. What in God's name can you do any differently with that roster that he did? He won a series. He got the best team in the NBA to the 7th game. What the hell do you want him to do that's any different than what he did?
I don't think really anything on the surface. I don't think it's – how do I put this? When you're looking to change something within your organization and they're heading for some sort of change, obviously they're going to have a new GM at a minimum and probably a roster shakeup of some sort if they can pull it off. I know it's not the same because he had success, but I'm going to just make a comparison around different teams because typically what happens when teams fire their head coaches, they're bad, typically. This is a really unique situation in which the 4 seed fired their head coach with 3 games left in the regular season. But typically what happens is guy takes over as interim. Sometimes interim guys do a good job, but they're like, I'm looking to change things. And when you take somebody that's underneath the guy, how much is that really changing? Now, to your point, I think Adelman did a great job. I don't know if he could have done better, to be honest.
It just shows me, guys. I mean, we're overthinking this. We are getting so critically constructive in rotations and what you do each time down the floor. This is a roster issue. It has been for the last 2 years. It's not necessarily a coaching issue. The reason the coach is in here is because for whatever reason, he and the GM couldn't work together. And it cost them both their jobs. But at the core of the Nuggets issue moving forward, it's a roster construction problem. We have talked about this. How many times am I going to tell you, you cannot win an NBA title when your 5th and 6th highest paid players do not play?
Agreed.
How many times do I have to say this?
Okay, I'm gonna play another Jokic clip here that is going to kind of get to the next point. And this is the one question I have. And this is you can't get an answer out of this with where the Nuggets were at when Adelman took over. But I've been harping on this for a while, Vic, because I do think this is important. We talk about roster construction, and yes, it's flawed. It's very obviously flawed. But Joker said something after the game that I think is an argument towards what the Nuggets haven't done the past couple of years with what they've had, which is you need to see. And he didn't come out and say this, but he was talking about guys like AG goes out, they gut out this Game 7. Porter's obviously been playing hurt. But Joker was talking about depth and guys who are not on the floor and goes, well, if you can't trust somebody who's only played 20 or 30 games in a Game 7 like that. That's what Joker said. Mm-hmm. And as Nelly looks for the cut, he's talking about how can you play somebody who hasn't played the entire year in that kind of moment. And my question always goes back to this. Well, why?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you why. Strawther didn't play because he got hurt.
So, hey, hang on. Let's hear this from Joker first. Go ahead.
The Thunder, they tried to make a point to wear you guys down with their depth throughout this series. You guys were obviously playing a shorter rotation for most of it. Maybe this is above your pay grade too, but as far as depth, what do you sort of think this team needs most going forward?
Like you said, it's above my. But yes, we definitely need probably. I think we played so long for such a way, and it's hard for the guys to step up and especially play, especially against two really good teams, Clippers and OKC. And we cannot ask for somebody who didn't play maybe 20, 30 games to jump in and be good and expect him to be good, But Julian step up, he was good. Peyton, he was in a rotation, but he had some good minutes too. So definitely, seems like the teams that has a longer rotation, longer bench, it's the one who are winning. Indiana, what's the name? OKC.
You can cut it right there, Nelly. It's fine. Here's what I'm getting at. You aren't going to overhaul 9 guys from this roster. Most of these guys will be back. Yeah. Even if you make changes this offseason, and even big ones, most of this roster is going to be here next year.
Well, what's most? What? I mean, there's going to be changes. There are already 4 guys whose contracts either expire or there's player options. So
sure.
There's going to be changes.
Here's what I'm getting at, though, and this is what I wonder, and this is an unanswerable question. if Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins were on this team, do they play consistently?
Yes.
I don't know how you can be so sure about that.
Yeah, I think that Julius Strawther played. Everybody who says, well, we'll give him – he played, and then he got hurt for the last 2 months of the season.
But Strawther didn't play in the postseason until these last couple of games.
Because he wasn't even healthy until the postseason started. We didn't even know if he'd be able to play in the postseason. But hey, Peyton Watson played. He played.
He did.
He played plenty of times.
He was your seventh guy. You have to play somebody.
I know, but this ridiculous notion that you got to play more guys, they did.
Is Pickett going to be on this roster next year?
I don't know.
Would you assume he would be?
Did he play?
No, he didn't.
He didn't play during the regular season.
No, he played a little bit during the regular season.
But he played, right? He played.
I mean, barely. Would you consider, if you're looking through the rotational players for the Nuggets this year, you would say Jalen Pickett was one?
No, I would not say that.
No way he was
Number
one.
two, when I listen to Joker talk about that, he's not putting the onus on those players saying, hey, look, you guys just stink or whatever. He's like, look, you can't expect these guys to come in after playing a handful of minutes in some games of the regular season and kick ass in a Game 7. You can't expect that. So I think he's a roundabout way of saying we need a deeper basketball team.
Well, exactly.
With guys how many minutes did those OKC bench guys get all year long?
But they were also better.
Agreed.
They were better.
Agreed.
So I disagree with Brett's mentions that you got to go. You got to give up and sacrifice regular season games to make sure these guys can play. How many more do you want to give up? They barely crawl to the 4 seed.
That's not so much giving up, but they have to have experience. And that's been my beef for the last couple of years. When we talk about a lack of depth, sorry, Mosh, I'll get done in a second. But we talk about a lack of depth. And I'm still sitting here, and I'm saying, can Jalen Pickett play or not? He's been here for over 2 years.
Zeke Naji
How do
play
I
or not
have an answer to that yet? How do I not have an answer? How do I not know? Here's the weird thing about Zeke. Zeke can't play basketball. But Zeke also got a 4-year extension at $8 million per. So they obviously thought he could do something, but we don't know. That's what I don't get.
It's exactly right. And, Vic, you're talking about sacrificing. Hold on.
What do you mean you don't know?
Vic, you don't really know if these guys are regular rotation guys.
Do you watch?
All right, Vic.
Do you watch?
So is Calvin Booth a moron who just throws around 30?
Did you just say listen, I'm having a conversation about what you deem acceptable talent to win in the NBA. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, what do you consider playable? I guess is my question. Does the guy have to be incredible to be on the floor? Can you have a couple of guys who are just okay? Is Zeke or Jalen Pickett just okay? Are they just okay basketball players that you can play for 10 minutes?
Here's the difference, though. They're players. They're bench players.
Let Moshe finish here. We cut him off. Go ahead, Moshe.
Here's what I want to say to you, Vic. You said, well, you don't want to sacrifice the you shouldn't have to sacrifice games in the regular season to find out if guys can play. You should know, right? I mean, you should know, and if they can play, then play them. So what you're telling me is this roster needs fixing, but it also needs improving. And I don't want to sit here and bag on these guys, on the bench. But can they play in this league or not?
Sometimes
and you need to make that decision earlier than right now, where we're doing a
because if the answer's no, then why are they here?
Exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Well, that dysfunction.
I don't want to sacrifice any regular season game to quote find out.
The fact that we're asking this question for the second consecutive year,
tells you all you need to know.
It tells you why the GM and coach were both fired at the same time.
Absolutely,
because they couldn't come to terms with those questions.
Agreed.
They disagreed too many times. There was dysfunction there, and the fact that we're sitting here in this clubhouse at Sanctuary on May 19th asking the same exact questions we asked a year ago is why they're no longer employed. That's why.